Qualify the Podcast Season 3. I'm your host, Hassan. With me, I have Mr. Billy Allen, the man, the myth, the children's legend. He does story time, which I thought was incredibly interesting because for people of color, and especially people in his position, it's something that really needs to be highlighted and celebrated. And, you know, honestly, let's keep it real. It's Black History Month. So let's do something for us so that we can highlight us and do this in a positive manner. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm blessed, man. God is good. Just got off of work not too long ago, serving the people in the community at my library. And then, I'm here, man, on your platform, man. Thank you for having me as a guest. And man, let's get it.
Awesome. Hey, look, I really appreciate it. So the things that I really wanted to talk to you about in a couple of points really was about your career path, the brand that you've launched, your purpose of why, and clearly we can highlight that, how it impacts Black history, because quite honestly, I think you're doing something that I really haven't seen before. I think in our pre-production, you talked about it. You said you hadn't seen it either. So why not do it, right? So can you give us a little bit of an introduction of yourself as well as where you work?
So I am Billy Allen. I am a librarian by profession. I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. I've, fallen into the field of librarianship was a weird one because, I did not grow up wanting to be a librarian. I mean, pretty sure a lot of young Black men that are in this field don't turn out like that. So to give you a little backdrop on me, man, when I graduated high school in 2002, I went to a HBCU, Winston State, to follow in my mom's footsteps of becoming a nurse. Okay. And I just was not mature enough to finish school. I'm trying to chase all the girls, all that. So I ended up flunking out. Okay. So, my dad was like, look, you're going to take your butt into the military. Like, he's hardcore, right? So going to the military, matured, got to see the world. So when I got out of school, it was interesting. I'm a veteran, but I'm living in Atlanta, me and my sister living together, and I'm trying to figure it out. And you never want to be the friend, Hassan, that be like, dang, man, he ain't doing nothing with his life. You don't want to be the friend to get passed on by. Right. So my mom at the time was living in Missouri, and she was like, are you serious about finishing your education? So I'm like, yeah, I'm serious. So I ended up going back to school at 25 in 2010, enrolling into another HBCU, Lincoln University of Missouri. All right. And halfway through, I'm going to be a nurse, right? Mm-hmm. Halfway through my undergrad, one of my homeboys, Bradley Kirkendall, was like, yo, man, you still about to do this nursing thing? And I'm like, yeah. I said, what you about to do? He said, I'm about to be a librarian. And the first response I gave him is the same response I get right now. I said, what the hell do a librarian do? So, he put me onto the field, introduced me to some mentors, Jerome Alford, Kelvin Watson, McKeever Foster. I did not know, Hassan, how big this field was. Every industry in the field has a librarian. Google has librarians, Microsoft, Disney, ESPN, law firms, hospitals, anything with information has a librarian. I didn't know that. And then I didn't know you had to have a master's degree in library science. So I'm like, okay, I get it. So I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in biology with a minor in library science. Then I went back home to North Carolina, to North Carolina Central University, another HBCU, to get my MLS, my master's in library science. So that was in 2016, man. And it's been a dope journey to give back to the community. This is the ultimate way of giving back to the community. Black men barely make up 1% of the field. And, I think it was dope, Hassan, because Three King Visions came into fruition because I started doing story times. And I was living in Miami. And I was doing story times in back-to-back sessions, Hassan, 10 and 11 o'clock. It was ranging from 50 to 150 people. So I'm asking some of my homeboys, I'm like, yo, ain't nobody doing a kid show that for people that look like us? Yeah. I ain't seen this since Red Rainbow. So, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, man. I'm going to do this, man, because kids need to see someone that looks like them, that, doesn't code switch, that, I'm creating that engagement that's not corny. In 2019, January 2019, I created Three King Visions, which is, my homeboys are Three Kings.
Okay.
But I'm like, we're loyal to our friendship. But I'm like, how can I be loyal to help kids develop the love of reading? So I came up with the visions. I said, you know what? It sticks. So you know, it's a storytelling platform, man, where we just trying to give back to our young kings and queens and show them that it's dope to be a librarian. It's dope to read and increase your literacy skills because it never stops.
Right.
So, man, I'm just passionate, man.
So it's 3 of you.
Yeah, my homeboys. Yeah, as far as best friends, 3 kings. But 3 King Visions is just me.
Okay, now, okay, I understood. Which really was one of the questions that I had was, okay, does that represent a collaboration or, okay, but now I understand it. But that's really interesting though, that you said that 1% of the librarians are actually Black. Now, is that Black men, Black women, or just in general, just Black people?
1% of Black men make up the field, and 10% is total as far as Black men and women.
Wow.
So you're talking about a predominantly dominated field with white women and white males. So
Sure.
you know, we're rare, especially Black men.
Yeah, and then the fact that now you just blew my mind with that one too. You said the librarian categorically is going to be with anywhere, Google, Apple, any one of them would have it because you're essentially the information hub and the delegator of where that information is actually housed and collected and how you search for it. That's all effectively what you would do.
You know, I break it down because I tell people will be like, well, do people still go to the library? Man, you'd be surprised. Libraries are popping. Libraries are not the traditional old school libraries that we grew up on, you know, where you just have books. We're more like community centers. I tell people I'm almost like I'm a matchmaker for resources. So, you know, you know, it's like, you know, people don't know you can get Rosetta Stone for free with your library card. If you're a stay-at-home mom, or if you're looking for family education, family literacy programs, come to the library, come to our youth services department. We'd be surprised because people got this, that you think that people are computer literate, know how to compose an email, apply for a job. I mean, we do performances. I mean, I got a theater in my library. It's all about the community and community engagement. And, you know, you'd be surprised how libraries are popping.
Yeah, no, I agree. But, you know, I like to call myself proudly nerdy. You know what I mean? So for me, I've kind of always been into this and I always like researching and looking into whatever. I do understand that that's really underutilized within our people. What I really appreciate from you is that you actually make this cool. You know, your flow, your engagement, your energy level, when you talk to the children, how you're engaging with them, and really keeps their eyes on it. And I have a little son, like he's little, like he's just learning how to talk. So I played the video for him, and the way you move, he's looking, he's locked in, you know, the whole time. I said, see, this is the future. This is exactly what it is that we need to see because, you know, Thomas the Train Engine is cool, but it's kind of slow when you really look at it. You know, it's like the difference between an old Western in the 60s and Western right now, you know?
Like I say, 3 King Visions and being a librarian, I have a slogan that we're leaders of the new cool. You know, we're trying to inspire young Black men and women that you can aspire to do something dope other than being an athlete or a rapper or entertainer. And, you know, you could be an entertainer and be a storyteller like me. Right. You know, we're trying to influence a whole new generation that you can do this and not be corny. If you look at this field of kids' education on YouTube, Facebook and stuff, this is an untapped realm in our community. Sure. So it's like the lane is wide open, and why not inspire a whole generation, man? So that's the mission I'm on.
I like it. I like it. So we connected itself through Rashad Patterson, who is a child's author. So shout out to Rashad Patterson. Thank you for making this actually happen. Right, big salute, absolutely. And that's Atlanta as well. So you were in Florida, and then you made the transition over to Vegas.
Yeah,
that was a business decision. But it took you to a different position. So what is your position now?
So I'm currently the branch manager at Whitney Library for the Las Vegas Clark County Library District. I am the first Black male branch manager in Las Vegas history. So, you know.
Let's not gloss over that. Say it again.
In Las Vegas history. You know, the word kind of spread it quite quickly because I've only been here 3.5 months and word has gotten out. And my library is in the urban community. Or if you want to say the hood, you know, I like to say urban because, you know, hood just has so many negative connotations to it, but they need, I want to be seen and be the face of the community And it's like when I tell people, it's never been one day I ever woke up and be like, dang, I gotta go to work, man. I really love what I do. It's all about impacting the community and getting back, man. So I'm blessed, man.
Yeah. Hey, look, I can't say enough good things about what this actually means. Your brand, Three King Visions, this is something that you guys, were you established, but in that brand, is it just the storytelling or is it something more that you're doing?
You know, it was funny during the pandemic. So when I launched it, you know, it was a YouTube channel, a kid show on YouTube. Subscribe to Three King Visions on YouTube.
Don't tag that, yeah.
Too. But it was about story time and, you know, read alouds and stuff and supporting Black children's authors. And or just authors, children's authors in general. But it evolved this past year in me promoting my field, the field of librarianship. So, because I give people a taste of what it's like to be a librarian. People don't know the type of resources and information that you can provide. So it's kind of involved of me just promoting what I do in everyday life, which is so dope because what I do as a brand and as my career, it coincides. So it's just dope, man. Like, you know, I literally live this, you know, so it's just been a dope thing to experience.
So in the platform that you have three things that I noticed, and you correct me if I'm wrong. So you have Instagram that you utilize very, very heavily. You have YouTube as well, right? We definitely want people to understand that Instagram is okay, but Instagram is short form. Long form would be YouTube. So that's where you get your, 9, 10, 16, 15 minutes of full story. You get a full story there versus Instagram where you actually get more of the promo of the story, right?
Right.
But you do live readings on Instagram too.
Yes.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
I try to do a big difference because last year I was so heavy on Instagram, and then just the process being an entrepreneur, running a brand, learning how to create engagement. So I'm like, okay, like this past month, I dropped 18 videos on YouTube in 2 weeks. Like we trying to crack this algorithm, get on YouTube Kids, and show these little ones that you can do this. But on my Instagram lives, what I do is I read a lot of these authors' books to hip hop instrumentals. You know, like to inspire. You could get creative when it comes to reading. I tell people all the time, Hassan, you could read a book, but can you read a book?
Can you read a book? Yeah.
It's a difference. It's a difference, you know. It's been really a big learning experience, learning social media. I think people don't understand Instagram's community is different from YouTube. You know, I got a pretty decent following on Instagram, but how does it come to YouTube? It doesn't. You got to create your own community.
Yeah, totally separate. Yeah. Yeah, we learned that as we go. I learned it along the way. And then what content is in the YouTube world is not the same thing as the Instagram world. Like it's faster. It's not way too fast, but it's faster on Instagram because it's just direct consumption, which takes under a minute. That's your attention span now. Yeah. It's a minute, which means 5 seconds. If you actually can't catch them in 5 seconds, you lost them. You know.
Well, think about reading. When you're talking about story time, is just not for the kid; it's for the parent as well. So they can create that relationship, so they both can create the love of reading. You know, parents, I tell them you got to practice what you preach. If the kids don't see you reading, how can you preach to them that you want them to read? So it creates a bonding experience. And like you said, as far as short attention spans, what I do, once I do my story time, I'm hitting the ground running. I want to grab your attention immediately because when you're reading a book, you know, you can't just read it and be like, George said hi, all this stuff. No, I'm saying, what's going on? You don't give them that energy. You got to give them that energy. And it's me all day, every day anyway.
Well, I've established that in the 2 times we had this conversation, but it actually segues that into one more thing, which is your mascot, which is the bee.
Yeah.
Busy Bee.
Busy the Bee.
Busy the Bee. Right. So is that more or less your co-host, when you bring on these stories?
Yeah, because when I initially started coming up with Three King Visions, I'm looking at the Blues Clues. I'm looking at some of these different kids shows. And I'm like, you know what? You got to have a co-star. You got to have something to draw the kids in. And I said, I'm going to do a Bumblebee. And, shout out to Davion, the guy I was working with initially. He created the Bumblebee. He created the logo. And I think it just stuck. I think it's dope that I can put on my acting hat, so to speak, and kind of do voiceovers And the kids, yeah, they're paying attention to me, but they're looking at that beat.
They're looking at the beat.
Via if it's live, me doing a live stream of the story time, or when I'm putting them on the green screen. So kids, they are engaged with that. So I'm throwing a lot at them, they don't even know, And it's like a relationship. Like on my show, I treat him like my best friend. Sometimes, if you look at some of my older videos, he goes on adventures and maybe a little mischievous, but it's a learning concept involved with that. So I'm always trying to drop gems to the kids when they're not even realizing.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I mean, that's when I looked at it, I'm looking at everything as marketing because that's what I do. So I'm looking at it and said, oh, that's like Lamb Chop's Play Along. Like, then I caught it because I'm of that generation. So I'm looking at it and said, this is genius. The way, the way that you're approaching this, because it is new for us. You filled a space that it's just not there. And that's the reason why I really felt like, yeah, I really wanted to talk to you about this. A, to applaud you, but B, to highlight the fact that this is something, like it really is something in this space. I mean, what's the percentage of YouTube traffic that actually comes in for child's storytime reading? Have you seen it?
You know what? I haven't looked at the statistics, but if you look at other demographics other than us, it's a huge field. Blippi made $400 million last year.
I was about to go with Blippi.
And I never heard of Blippi until I started creating Three King Visions, and people was like, "Oh, you trying to be like Blippi?" I'm like, "No, Blippi can't do what I do. He can't read a book, like you know what I'm saying." But no, shout out to him. But this field is wide open. You got the cool schools of the world, Miss Arnie's house. These people, I don't even do it for the money, but this is the industry that's untapped in the Black and Hispanic community. It just it's crazy to me that people haven't jumped into this field. Now you see it here and there. I know Netflix did the little storytelling series with the entertainers. I think Ludacris is trying to get into that realm. But you got to be consistent with this, like you say, like kids look forward to things. I remember when I was growing up, I looked forward to certain cartoons, certain shows. So you have to create consistency and being authentic, man. I think when you're talking about dealing with kids content, you got to get the parents, because the parents are screening the content, right? So what I do in Hassan, I sprinkle a little hip hop references, crack a little jokes, a little bit that the adults will get, but the kids will be like, "Oh, he just talking," you know what I'm saying? Because you got to create the engagement with them and the little ones. So yeah, I just love it.
But I think it's a good strategy, though. I really respect it. This is just for the sake of you having a business brand, and just to talk about the numbers. Your Instagram page was around 10,000 followers, and I'm looking at this to say that you have children as well as parent engagement on Instagram. So what are the plans for you in the future? Like in terms of the near future, how can they access your live stream? Is it by subscription only, or do you send out notifications? What do you do?
A combination of both, and I'm still learning, to be honest with you. I'm a one-man army, so it's like I'm pushing to YouTube because I was focused on Instagram heavy last year, but I'm like, look, I really want to make a scene, be aggressive. To all my business owners, invest in yourself. This past year, I invested in $1,000 camera, the camera I'm on right now. I invested in creating a setup, which isn't always done, but it's going to get done. I got the Bumblebee going. We got the merch coming. I got my slogan, Leaders of the New Cool. So I'm just trying to give them the presentation. I'm focusing on the content this year versus the marketing. If you looked at my Instagram, I'm doing heavy promotion, but now it's time to give them the content. So I've been working, man. When I get off work, I'm working on 2 videos a night, dropping 2 videos a day to crack this algorithm of YouTube. And people think it happens overnight. It doesn't. So numbers wise, I think I'm around 1,400 subscribers on YouTube, and I'm learning and trying to be consistent. And man, I'm trying to get to 10, 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and it's going to happen. Instagram was pretty interesting because when I redirected my brand as far as not always just talking about story time, talking about librarianship, also seeing that, like, you know what, this is a cool librarian. I talk just like them. I'm coming in with the J's. I'm hip hop. I represent hip hop. So I think I started collaborating with educators, other storytellers, and just reaching out to people. One thing, Hassan, I am so blessed, but I'm confident that I know when a stranger sees this, they're gonna rock with it. Because I think it's so much positive negativity going on with the Black man,
Yeah.
that they need to see some more positivity from people that really enjoy what they do.
I agree. I actually agree with everything you said. I have no counter argument to that, because we kind of want everybody to shine. This side of the table wants everybody to win. It doesn't matter what you do. If you do what I do, that's fine. I'd like to see your stuff too, because we're in the same league, but we're not in the same lane. It's not the same thing. We're not doing the same thing, but we are contributing in the same direction. And that's what I appreciate so much about a positive game. Give them your YouTube page, or how to find them on YouTube, as well as how to find you on Instagram.
All right, so just find me on YouTube at 3 King Visions. It's the number 3 KINGVISONS. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We need all of your support to try to make history. We really want to impact the youth, and it just means a lot to show the little ones this type of content. People, I don't think no one's doing what I'm doing. You know, if they are, we're far in between. Follow me on Instagram at 3 King Visions as well. Follow me on Facebook. We're gonna put a little bit more focus on Facebook. I'm on Twitter as well. Parents, you know, just tap in. We're leaders of the new cool. You know, I'm trying to make it that librarians can be just as dope as LeBron James, or just as dope as Drake. You know, we can give back and don't sacrifice your authenticity. You know, and I'm on a mission to do that.
Awesome. Well, I really would like to help you as well. So you can find us on all streaming platforms as well as YouTube. You can check under QLAFD or Qualified the Podcast. You can even Google that. We're on Google Podcasts too. Until next time, my name is Hassan. This is Billy Allen, Qualified the Podcast.